admitting that you can't stop this train, even though you're trying really hard, you may grieve. It may in fact be heartbreaking what happens. This is not about not doing what we can. It's about it going into the physiological state where we come out of struggle against the river. And then stepping into agency, doing what we can, which may or may not end global warming. Like it might not. We may lose the planet. I'm being drastic, but I think a lot of people are in a kind of frantically trying to save the planet, the climate or the microclimate. And we may or may not be able to. The control is an unreflective, like giving it, like trying. Without checking into, okay, it's bigger than I am. I am actually powerless over it. It's out of control whether or not the planet is saved. What do I do knowing that I can't save it? It may be saved through a combination of efforts, one of which is mine. But I can't save the situation. But I also want you to embrace the realism of the vulnerability when you find yourself there. It'll still keep you from getting exhausted and pushing the river in the exact same situations where you still have the exact same amount of agency. You're just letting yourself acknowledge it. Because sometimes it's tough. Sometimes the thing you don't want to have happen happens. How are you going to go? Fighting tooth and nail the whole way, and therefore with way less recovery capacity, otherwise known as trauma, or mourning, but not making it a deal breaker between you and source. Right? Because that's trauma, is when the thing happens and we say, okay, if this happens, I'm cutting off from you, big love, because you suck, because you let this happen. So I'm not turning to you anymore, and I'm not letting you support me. And like, oh shit, you mean you lost what you loved and now you're going to lose this too? In protest? It's a double loss now. And leave, but I'm not, understand that I'm saying this respectfully. It happens so easily on the inside when we lose what we didn't want to lose, that we're like, okay, so now I'm going to close the door to my recovery capacity. This, if you ask me, is why we have Whole Heart Connection community, is so that when we're right in that moment of I'm about to create lasting trauma in myself, because in the surrender that had to be surrendered, because I really could not prevail over this, I am going to then cut off from my recovery capacity too. A Whole Heart Connection pal can say, wait, wait a minute, just wait a minute. How about if we just grieve? Like maybe a lot, like maybe it'll take more than 3 minutes, but we could be back to back and feel our governor vessel and our agency, because this is where the agency is now. There are times when over whether that thing comes to pass that we didn't want to have come to pass, that may not turn out to be where we have a whole lot of agency. It just may turn out that way. It could happen. But we always have agency over our inside, and whether we are now going to sulk, rebel, turn to the devil and wreak some havoc, harm a few people so that they're hurting as much as we are. I mean, this is our agency. This is our agency. Or saying, big love, you know full well how much I don't like this. But with my agency, I'm going to stay where I can receive support and where I have recovery capacity. What a mystery this whole thing is.